Right, hello guys, welcome back. So today we are doing an honest review of the new Pacific Epitaph waveframe from the Ghost of the Deep dungeon, and whether it's worth getting your hands on going into the Edge of Fate. Because if you remember, waveframe grenade launchers used to be basically the best guns in the game when it came to ad clear at a certain point in the game's life cycle. Now, ever since then, they've been overtaken by things like rocket sidearms, and just in general, we are in a very much ability-focused meta, so the guns kind of take a backseat. Think Consecration, Lightning Surge, etc, etc. So initially it was already going to be a little difficult for this weapon to compete. However, it is the first of its kind in a sense that it has a perk roll that no other waveframe in this slot actually has. So I do have a few rolls I want to discuss today in terms of what I think you should be chasing and also getting first impressions for. So the first roll I want to test is the roll of Unrelenting Chain Reaction, because Chain Reaction is just a pretty good perk on waveframes even though it's been nerfed in the past, and I also just want to see how Unrelenting fares in terms of the healing. Okay, so just to test this roll out, I'm bringing it to the Legendary Witch Queen mission just to see how things go. As you can see, the explosion for Chain Reaction isn't as visible as it is for like the other weapon archetypes, but we'll just see if we can get something out of this. You know, there's plenty of ads in this part, and well, yep, it's clearing the ads. It's doing a decent job at that. And then we have another wave here. See if we can get across the whole way. Obviously it's a waveframe, it reaches pretty far. But, you know, typical waveframe, it is doing its job. To be honest, the chain reaction isn't nearly as noticeable as I thought it would be. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's Stasis, so the explosion color is a little different, but let's just see if we can trigger another one here. I mean, there definitely is an explosion. It's just not as pronounced as it is for like Forbearance, for example, which is obviously the main waveframe you would be comparing this to, since that was the one that everyone used for so long. Here we are again in another sort of ad-dense encounter, which is the second of Vesper's host, and well, as you can see, it's still doing fine. Yeah, the chain reaction really isn't as noticeable, I will say. I mean, there it was, but honestly, a little bit of a better visual treatment would have been the move here. And of course, it has the general waveframe clunkiness of sometimes the wave not going where you want it, but you know, it does do the job. It will clear the ads for you. Again, let's see here one last time. Yeah, the explosion could definitely do with a little more visual flair for sure. So for this roll, the explosions could definitely do with a bit more noticeability, but I guess it is fine for ad clear with chain reaction. Even still, the damage on the red bars is adequate enough for it to be considered still decent for ad clear. So yeah, first impressions of a chain reaction roll, pretty good. Definitely the one perk I would probably recommend going for. In terms of other rolls, the one perk I would almost maybe recommend is Adrenaline Junkie with Demolitionist if you are on a more grenade focused build. So if you're on a Warlock, for example, and you just wanted even more grenade energy per kill, you could go with Demo Adrenaline Junkie to buff the damage of your new Pacific Epitaph. But in the same slot, you also have Chain Reaction, so you could go Demo Chain Reaction as well. I don't think there's any need for me to test this roll. I'm sure you guys know how these perks work by now. This weapon also gets Rimestealer, which is going to give you stacks of Frost Armor whenever you break a Stasis Crystal or defeat a frozen target. So the main thing I wanted to see with this roll is whether it can destroy Stasis Crystals with the wave all in one. So I guess let's find out. And yes, it can. Nice. That's good to know, because it was going to be really bad if it couldn't actually do that. So again, one more time, we have 5 crystals here, and if we look on the left of our screen, when we break them, we get 3 stacks of Frost Armor there. So I think it's 1 stack per crystal. So yeah, that's what it appears to be. But also, remember, this does work on frozen targets as well, which is why I've now gone to a Warlock, and I've actually brought back an older build of mine, which is a Stasis Warlock from episode Revenant. You can go check out that build in full if you'd want. But the main idea is using Osmiomancy Gloves with pure Stasis to spam Cold Snap Grenades, and it was with Icebreaker, the original build, but this time let's see if we can use new Pacific Epitaph with Rimestealer just to see how things go. So we'll freeze this target here and defeat them, and we should get Frost Armor, there we go, from Rimestealer, and then we can just continue doing waveframe things by just killing these ads here, and in the next big group I will be sure to freeze them. So for this group here, we're going to freeze them. I have no Frost Armor, and I kill all of these. We gain some Frost Armor pretty rapidly, up to the cap of ×8 very quickly, and we'll do the same again on this group here. And this actually feels pretty good. I actually like the use case here, just for like a fun sort of stasis build. The thing about this build initially was that you actually have to run up to the enemy and collect the shard to gain the frost armor, but in this sense here, you can kill them from range and it'll give you the stack. And it will refresh the timer as well. So as you can see here, my frost armor is at 13 seconds. If I kill these enemies, it'll go back to 13 seconds after I kill them with Rimestealer. So again, we'll freeze these guys here, beat them with the wave frame. This feels pretty good. I actually do like the feel of this. So definitely consider pairing with the stasis build. One more time, let's just get this big group frozen. Basically 100% uptime on maximum frost armor, which is nice. So yeah, if you like your stasis builds and your wave frame grenade launchers, then these two will definitely pair nicely together. So the next role that I kind of wanted to touch on was Envious Arsenal, and just to kind of show you that you should not really be going after this on a wave frame, because if we look at the damage of how much this does, it's around 24,000, right? So if you wanted to use this in a damage rotation context, your competition is this Liturgy here, also with Envious Arsenal and Shell Clip. Now, Liturgy is a double fire grenade launcher, meaning that by default, it does a lot more damage. And how much? Well, let's just see. We hit around 11,000 4 times, which is around 40,000. So roughly doing 15,000 more damage per shot than a wave frame, plus you don't have the restriction of having to shoot it at the ground in order for it to actually work. So when it comes to damage rotations, absolutely do not use a wave frame for it, even though it has Envious Arsenal to make things somewhat easier. Just go for a Liturgy instead. I know it requires playing Revenant, but yes, definitely try and get yourself this weapon before Revenant goes away, before Edge of Fate comes out. Now, the last perk I wanted to show before we end off is Lead from Gold. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a new Pacific Epitaph to drop with Lead from Gold, but this is just a very solid perk. Collecting heavy ammo will give you ammo for this weapon. And you'll kind of just have to take my word on this, but Lead from Gold does work with the Gravity Well origin trait, where reloading the weapon will gather the nearby ammo, and if it's heavy ammo, it will give you special if you have Lead from Gold on the weapon. So having Lead from Gold and Gravity Well is a pretty nice pairing. I would say that Restoration Ritual is probably a pretty bad origin trait to select on this weapon specifically. It's not really needed. Having 2 in the mag after performing a finisher or reviving an ally, not really going to happen too often when you're using a wave frame, so I would definitely go with Gravity Well for this weapon if you plan on using it. And circling back to Lead from Gold just briefly, I believe outside of the niche Rimestealer role, this is going to be the god role for you to get, which is Lead from Gold plus Chain Reaction, because it gives you the best of both. It's the best ad clear perk, and it's arguably the best utility perk as well in the form of Lead from Gold. So overall, I'm pretty hesitant to recommend using new Pacific Epitaph despite it being okay at what it does, because it has to compete with Tenacious Mastery. This weapon is just too good for what it does. It's excellent for building Dark Energy, it's got anti-barrier this season, it's got Chill Clip, it's got Air Trigger for bonus reserves and better reload speed. The ad clear is basically the same as it would be with a wave frame, albeit maybe slightly slower, but the utility it presents is just far better. You don't have to shoot it along the ground, you can just shoot directly at the enemy, and even though rocket sidearms have received nerfs over time, this is just still such a amazing weapon. It's going to be very difficult for new Pacific Epitaph to compete. That said though, it does have some fun applications like in that Warlock Stasis build I showed you earlier, so it will be good in those sort of niche scenarios, or just for plain having fun. It's definitely one of those weapons that you can just have fun with, you know, go out there, kill some aliens. That's what Destiny's all about, really. Have fun while killing aliens with some cool guns, and new Pacific Epitaph definitely fills that niche. Overall, I would say that new Pacific Epitaph is one of those weapons that you could go and get the god roll of, and then only bring it out from time to time for something like a Stasis build, for example. But unfortunately, the time of the wave frame is basically over, and new weapons like rocket sidearms have completely taken over its space that it used to previously inhabit. So there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed my honest review of new Pacific Epitaph, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these types of videos with the upcoming prophecy weapons next week. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.